Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy, it's a pleasure, it's an honor as usual being out here in nature and bring this message of emancipation to you, whereby I'm pointing you to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. That's why I want to speak to you concerning the Neville Goddard and Jesus narrative. But before I do so, I just want to encourage you to get a copy of the 66 Books of Magic, the Overcomer's Bible, by checking the link down below. And that Bible doesn't have Jesus written in it. It has a blank space for you to write your name as the Christ, because the Bible is your spiritual autobiography that must be interpreted psychologically. Also, if you like to support this work, there's a link down below also for Patreon, so you can support this work on Patreon, or also you can support this work by way of PayPal. Now, with that being said, I want to speak to you concerning the Neville Goddard and Jesus narrative. Now, let me state first of all that I have nothing against Neville Goddard, okay, and that I do enjoy listening to the lectures of Neville Goddard, because Neville Goddard was inspired and mentored by Abdullah the Black Mystic from Ethiopia. And so, what I'm really concerned about is how, just as the colonizers would have used Jesus to control the people and to colonize the people and rule over them through cruel means, murder, rape, maiming, anything that was barbaric and evil was used against people all around the world. From South Africa from Africa I should say, to the Caribbean, many other places, to the Americas. These warmongers would have traveled and used the Bible by interpreting the Bible as literal and as secular history, and used the Jesus as man's savior narrative to conquer and to divide the people. And just quite lately, all of that could have been seen even in places like South Africa, where there was apartheid, yet the people were still holding on to the Jesus narrative and believe that one day he's gonna come from the sky and save them. But many fail to realize that it is a spiritual battle, and the battle is for the mind of humanity. For them to worship these entities that are leading the 1% elite that controls the wealth of the world, and who control the money, because whoever control the money, they will control all those who believe that they cannot survive without money, and those who look outwardly instead of look inwardly to discover that their real identity is their divinity. So for many, many years, this Jesus and Mary story was used to conquer the minds of the people. And so there are certain people who would have received certain benefits through such cruelty. And because it would have played on their ego, and even their ancestors or foreparents would have taught them certain lies, many people are still struggling with that lie, because they still believe in their false identity of who they are. So somebody even got offended of me even bringing this video and exposing those who have used the Jesus narrative and used the Bible to destroy many all around the world and to conquer them, and to set up system to keep the people living in the colonial mentality. Even in my country, 99% of the people still have a colonial mentality. And even in such large continent of Africa, most people still have colonial mentality. And that is why the minerals from those countries has been stolen and even taken from them through deceptive means of using the Bible in a deceptive way. Now, Abdullah taught Neville Goddard the truth about the Bible so that all of humanity can benefit and that we can see the cruelty and be honest enough to see what was done to our people to keep them in mental slavery. Yet today, on the internet, I can see where so many who are claiming to be conscious, so many who are claiming to be woke and to be enlightened, where I'm still seeing them dwelling in a place of favoritism and dwelling in a place of still lying and still having an agenda to promote a certain class or a certain race of people over another. And so many are very reluctant to speak of the contribution of Abdullah as it should be known. Instead, just as they have the people looking to Jesus, a white idol, so too they want to have everyone looking to Neville Goddard, who's already dead and gone. But because he was a white man, they try to use the Neville Goddard narrative in so much a way that they do not want other people, especially those who look like me, to know that there are others who are out here who are speaking of Abdullah, the black mystic from Ethiopia, and who are speaking of the spirituality that was there with all of our ancestors before the Europeans came and conquered them and keep them in a mentality of colonialism, giving them a colonial mentality. So when we look at Neville grew up in Barbados, but Neville never went back to Barbados and teach what he claimed that Abdullah taught him to the people in Barbados. As a matter of fact, 95% of the people living in Barbados, I would say 99% of the people living in Barbados do not know anything about Neville Goddard and what he would have taught. Yet they were running business throughout the Caribbean islands. But Neville never took the opportunity to come to the Caribbean islands and teach the people of what Abdullah taught him. That's a lot of food for thought. How could someone grow up among a people and know such great truth and never went back to those people? Because on more than one occasion he went back to Barbados and he never used the opportunity to teach anyone in Barbados. When there were people in Barbados who would prophesy over his life and tell him what kind of life he would live. And the people of the Caribbean used to support their businesses. And even today, the businesses are still in the islands in different names. And many people do not know anything about the Goddards and Sons. That these businesses started from the Goddards and Sons. So my brothers and my sisters, there must be a man who is willing to speak the truth. Doesn't matter who will get offended about the truth. That is why I refuse to listen to many of these people on the internet who want to speak about Neville. Because it seems to me like they want to uplift and put their ancestors on a pedestal. And they do not want us to put our ancestors on a pedestal. They do not want us to celebrate our ancestors and to speak about our ancestors. And so many, they will want to follow you, they will want to listen to you. And if they can drain everything from you, just like how they are draining everything from the earth, taking all of the minerals from the earth that the earth so needs, and stripping people of the power of who they are for their own gains, and do not let and keeping the people blind from the spiritual battle that is going on, the spiritual war that is going on, the hidden agenda, the alien race that most people do not know about, that they are taking these things to feed, and to feed that alien race with negative energies from the people by keeping them in fear. Those who do not understand that are those who would even go and criticize my book, The Black Mystic from Ethiopia, Neville Goddard mentor, because they do not understand what is going on. They've been blinded. And many get caught up with the narrative of getting things. And so they've been blinded by these things and fail to realize that it is a spiritual war. And we are here to speak the truth and to declare the truth. So my brothers and my sisters, everything that Neville has been teaching, as long as you believe what he's saying, and you believe that he was taught by Abdullah, you have to believe everything that he's saying was taught to him by Abdullah. And if you believe that, then you must agree with what I am saying. Even though if there's certain privileges that have been given to you because of what was done by your ancestors, you have to realize that this is the time of the Great Awakening, and that there's a people who have awakened and realized that their spirituality has been stolen, that their identity has been stolen, and that all of their artifacts have been stolen, and they're in museums all over the world, hidden from the people who would have had a spirituality, a science and a technology that is even greater than what they have right now. So my brothers and my sisters, you can't speak consciousness and can't face reality. So let me say this: cut out the Neville Goddard narrative and Jesus narrative and speak the truth, because at the end of the day, I know that I am pure consciousness, and I know that I am eternal. I know I have a soul, and I know we are in a spiritual war. I know of the aliens. I know of those that are reaping and harvesting the energy of humanity on this planet. I know because many times I'm in battle. So my brothers and my sisters, it's spiritual battle, it's spiritual warfare. We are not fighting against flesh and blood. We are fighting against principalities and powers. We are fighting against wickedness in high places. So let me say this to all the people who will listen to me who have another race. When I speak, I am speaking of the 1%. I'm speaking of the elite. I'm speaking about the people who are behind all of the systems of the world, who are using dark energy against the people of the world to keep us divided, to keep us against one another. So forget about the favors that have been given to you. Forget about the opportunities that have been given to you. Because at the end of the day, we cannot take anything with us. You cannot take $1 million with you to the grave. You cannot take $1 billion with you to the grave. None of these material things, you cannot take it with you to the grave. So let us stand as a people and fight against this power. Doesn't matter what is your nationality, and doesn't matter the complexion of your skin. We have to stand together and fight against this negative power. So get out of being prejudiced and trying to push a certain agenda. It's not all about Neville. We must remember and celebrate Abdullah also, because they could not be a student without their first be a teacher. And if we be honest and we look around, even to this day, I'm still seeing the older folks in my country and throughout the Caribbean and around the world who are still practicing their original spirituality, even though it has been polluted. And I could look at their original spirituality, even though it was polluted, and through the signs and symbols, I know what they did believe. I know exactly what they did believe. And I know how deep the lie has gone. So So my brother and my sisters, stop feasting on the lies by holding to false identity. The story that I'm speaking is the story of life. And it is for all of humanity, without any prejudice, without any division, without any favoritism. We must speak the truth and speak the truth ever. For it's only the truth that would set us free. So with that being said, my brother and my sister, I want to thank you very much for listening to me. And I want to say to you, if what I'm saying right here, right now is really resonating with you, it's really making sense to you and really helping you in any way. If you haven't subscribed already, to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to share this video. But before I leave you, I want to let you know that this message I bring to you, that it is the single eye. Yes, it is the single eye message of self-realization, of which Matthew 6:22 says that if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. And my brother and my sisters, hadn't it been that the single eye would have opened in me when I awake from the dream of life, after I would have felt that great and mighty shaking, and would have heard the unheard wind, then I ascend like a fiery being, burst my contract and became invisible, and had the virgin birth and experienced the resurrection, I wouldn't have been here bringing this message to you, saying that God is light, and we are to be the light of the world, and that light is in man. And as the sun is above us, so the sun is within us, and so the sun is beneath us. Therefore, the real Son of God is not a S-O-N 2,000 years ago. Jesus can never be the light of the world, because no S-O-N could ever exist unless there first be the S-U-N. Therefore, my brother and my sisters, that's the reason why I always encourage you and say to you that let no one deceive you or brainwash you by making you believe that the eye above the pyramid and the US dollar, that is an evil symbol. No, it is the all-seeing eye of God in you, who is your own human imagination, for you would have an awakened imagination and come to realize that a single eye is the eye of the prophets, the eye of the mystic, the eye of the seers, those who will go beyond their skull, those who will go beyond humanity and come to discover their real identity is their divinity. That's the reason why I'm about to put my hand above my crown chakra, saying to you that when you have the experience, that you will come to realize that it is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life. For the sun, as in the S-U-N, parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, there is no life and there is no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And you're told also in Psalm 84:11 that the Lord thy God is a sun and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. And the sun has never withhold any good thing from all of humanity, for the sun is what powers humanity and gave humanity all of its energy. Also, in Malachi chapter 4 and verses 2, you are told that the Son of Righteousness shall arise in you with healing in his wings. And truly the Son has risen in me, and I'm bringing healing to all of humanity. That's why I point you to look inwardly and encourage you to use your mind power, which is your solar power, your sun power, your God power, your creative power, which is actually the sexual power. Use that power to achieve your every desire. So with that being said, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.